Hello class, this is section 6, and as you can see we have a guest. Her name is Stefanie Fine, and she is Vice President of Business Development at JEVS Human Services. So I'm going to ask Stefanie to begin just by giving us a brief overview of what JEVS is and what JEVS does. Hi Steph.
Hello. And hello everyone out there. In talking about JEVS, have to talk about the fact that we've been around for 70 years and we do quite a wide range of services. We provide services in the employment and training arena, as well as services for individuals with disabilities. Our primary services include services to folks with who have been on welfare, services for employment and training of individuals who have had disabilities. We have services behind the walls in the prison. We have services where we have an Orleans Training Institute that is a licensed vocational school. We do a lot of career work with individuals from all walks of life, and we care for individuals with mental retardation and mental health issues, as well as some addictions programs.
So although JEVS is an agency that provides a wide variety of service regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, they do have programs that serve Jews, which is their original mission.
That's correct. We started after World War II with refugees, and we continue to serve refugees who are coming over today.
Thanks for that quick overview. I know that's something we could talk about for hours. Just for everybody else's information, the JVS system of agencies exists in most major cities. So there is a network and an international JVS organization that coordinates programs between JVSs throughout the United States. And I even think there's some in Israel.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about JEVS' strategic plan. It was completed in 2008 and now is in the monitoring, tracking, and readjusting phase. And so I have prepared a list of questions for Steph to answer. I want her to focus a lot on the SWOT analysis since that's the topic for today, and because I could tell from your SurveyMonkey pretest that was an area most of you knew very little about. So I'm going to start, and we'll get to the SWOT analysis part in a moment. Describe your role. Stefanie led the strategic planning initiative. That was one of her staff roles, and in doing that, she was the champion or the owner of the process. So I wanted you, since those terms have been described earlier in this course, to describe how you saw your role.
My role was, first of all, to create and manage an oversight team. So we put together a group of our executives for the purpose of, first of all, determining the scope and budget for the project. We have a very large agency and needed to determine whether every program and every department was going to be a part of the project. We prepared a request for consultant proposals as a part of that process, and I wanted to be sure that everybody on the team fully bought into the process and fully understood what was involved. I then had to ensure that the consultants themselves had everything that they needed after we selected them. We went through a whole process of rating and selecting consultants, and then we decided what was it that they needed, and then managed the process, making sure that they had access to the individuals that they were going to interview, that things were being done on time and on target. I wanted to be sure that we had a communication plan so that all of the employees at JEVS, as well as other stakeholders, knew that we were going through a strategic planning process, had an opportunity to provide input, and then the other piece of it was evaluating the process when it was over and making sure that we really did do that which we set out to do.
So you can see that the owner is really the head honcho. Lots of things that have to be coordinated, lots of decisions that have to be made, and Stefanie played that role. You mentioned about the consultant that you interviewed several, you selected one. How did you define your role versus theirs? with regard to responsibilities?
Well, first of all, as the owner of the process, you really have the ultimate responsibility. So it's important to understand that it's your responsibility to make sure that everything is happening and that the consultant is doing things per their work plan. On the other hand, the consultant does advise you often, although you've put out a request for proposals from consultants and they did work with you, they may have suggestions on how to alter that process, or their proposals will help to guide the process that you ultimately go through. You have to be very clear to define up front what parts of the work will the consultant be doing and what parts will you be doing. So we've had some revisions, and at other times I've worked with other consultants in strategic planning, and it's really important to understand, well, given my budget, maybe I want staff to collect some of the environmental data that we're going to talk about later, for an example, and so therefore we'll do that, and then the consultant might do something like external interviews because they can be seen as a less biased party in doing those interviews. I think it's also important that you make sure that they're getting all the information that they really need, so that they can have a full picture of what's happening both internally in the agency and externally in your industry, and being clear about exactly what outcomes you want out of the process. For example,